Hey Missouri, how are you? America, everybody tuning in. Ryan Derks here. I'm sitting with a friend, Jack Cashill. The purpose for the video today is Jack actually just wrote a new book, Unmasking Obama. And you know, I saw this come out and we're not going to waste any time. We're just going to start talking to him for about 15 or 20 minutes today. Jack, why did you write a book about Obama this far after his presidency?
Well, you know, because he remains relevant in today, we know why he's relevant, because he was the one behind the pick of Kamala Harris. By the way, it's pronounced Kamala, like as in communist, just in case you need to remember that first syllable. And also because the major scandal of his campaign is about to move into center stage.
You think so?
Yes, if the media won't let it, they'll try not to.
Yeah.
But in fact, that's the thesis of my book. Is the subtitle is the fight to tell the true story of a failed presidency.
Yep.
And so what I talk about is how a coalition. The one guy used the phrase, a coalition of willing Lilliputians.
Yeah.
Banded together and to tell the story that the major media refused to tell about Obama's presidency and about his candidacy before that. And it's amazing the job the major media did in not reporting on, so that after 8 years they could walk away saying they had a scandal-free presidency.
I know. I mean, a president who inherited 2 wars and expanded them to 7, dropped, for just one topic, dropped 25,000 bombs per year across 8 or 7 countries, 8 countries, so much that the military ran out of bombs.
So much that, you know, he even aced a couple of American citizens with drone strikes.
Yeah. Only sitting president to ever oversee a downgrade in U.S. credit.
Yeah.
How far does this focus just on his presidency, or does this go to his youth also? Because
his youth also, but you know that's been pretty well covered. So unlike most books about Obama that have been written from the right, focused on the youth. Actually, the ones on the left have focused on the youth too. This is, I believe, the first comprehensive look at his presidency.
Okay.
And I try to make it entertaining. What I do is I tell the stories because I like positive stories.
Mm-hmm.
So I tell the stories of the intrepid citizen journalist who dared to tell the truth.
Who were some big names that were citizen journalists at that time?
Well, my MVP is Andrew Breitbart.
Yeah, right.
But he dies in 2012. But he created and inspired a whole nother generation of people like James O'Keefe, David Daleiden, who's in the news now because he was busted by Kamala Harris for daring to expose Planned Parenthood. So I talk about those 2 guys. I talk about people like some people that are odd stories that you never, people who are going to be shocked to see themselves in the book. You know.
Okay.
I'll give you an instance. One guy is named Rich Weinstein. No relation to Harvey. He's a financial advisor, middle-class guy, suburban Philadelphia, minding his own business. He's heard Obama say, if you like your health care plan, you can keep your health care plan, so many times that he was convinced he was telling the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was so convinced that when he got the email saying, sorry, but you've just lost your doctor and your health plan, he was really shocked into action. And what he did is he said, who designed this thing? So his only tools were Google and YouTube. Goes into Google, finds out who are the architects. Then he goes into YouTube and starts looking for videos of the architects talking.
Mm-hmm.
And he finds Jonathan Gruber. Now, I don't know if you remember Jonathan Gruber, but he was a principal architect of Obamacare.
Yeah.
And he's cavalierly saying at a press conference after the fact, you know, if it weren't for the stupidity of the American people, we would never been able to get this passed.
And he said, and that's a quote by the guy who authored the whole plan.
Right.
Yep. Okay.
And he said the lack of transparency is what helped us. You know, it was an incredibly damning quote. He takes the video and he goes to the New York Times. He doesn't know any better.
Mm-hmm.
New York Times has no interest, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he forces it up through what I call the samizdat.
Yeah.
The samizdat is the Russian word for self-publishing. And during the Soviet years, the samizdat did all the truth-telling in the Soviet Union. You know, that's how they published the Gulag Archipelago, even Dr. Zhivago and, you know, all those other lesser works and news and whatnot. And he forces it up, and then it becomes a big national scandal. And he succeeded in doing that just using Google and YouTube. That's citizen journalism at its most basic. There are higher levels of it that are, you know, that are more advanced. But, you know, I did some myself. There's people like on blogs and talk radio and places like Judicial Watch and places, talk radio, even candidates like yourself running for Congress who are willing to get out and spread the message. Everyone watching this who forwards it to another person is a member of the Samizdat.
And that's what if you get my emails, I'm not sure, but I tell that people all the time.
Yeah.
Do you know how much money it's worth if you just forward this one email to your friends?
Right.
Do you know how, the scientists say one person knows 120 people,
Yeah.
and they know 120 people. Before you know it, that's like a million people you can get in front of.
Right.
If you just forward this one email. Absolutely.
And that's why I think I recommend to you, I hope you're doing it, is that when you're out with a crowd, if you can be out with a crowd,
yeah,
and have them take a photo of you two together on their camera.
Actually, I'll give you this. I'll give you some credit here. At the rally this past Friday,
right,
I knew we invited the media. We gave them multiple warnings. Not one showed up. So,
of course.
Yeah, right. So our announcer, I said, Tom, here's what I want you to do. Go up there and introduce everyone, but make sure that everyone looks around and knows the media is not here.
Right.
They will boo. And he said, are you sure? And I said, they will. And then tell them to pull their phones out and live stream. And you know what? He did it. He said, look, there's no one here. And everyone boos. He says, get your cameras out now and live stream. We probably had about 10 people that live streamed that rally.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. And that's, and you have to keep looking for ways to engage the Samizdat,
Yes.
And what's amazing about it is and so I say the subtitle is people say, my subtitle is The Fight to Tell the True Story of a Failed Presidency.
Yeah.
People say, what do you mean fail? They got everything done. You kidding? They lost 13 legislators. They lost 13 governorships. They lost 850 seats in various legislators. And here was the big kicker. November 8th, 2016. He needs Obama needs Hillary elected to protect not only his legacy, but all the secrets.
Right. To shovel it all under and lock it away. Right.
She's elected. That's all gone. We never hear about, Trump, Russia, whatever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And yet, here's the lineup when you think about this. They have got every single major newspaper in the country endorsing Hillary Clinton.
Yes.
All the networks, full time, full blast, except for Fox News, and even Fox is the fairest of them all, I believe.
Right. Yeah.
They've got all the news magazines, including the glamour magazines and stuff.
Yeah.
All of Hollywood.
Yes.
All of Broadway, and all the social media giants. Which
all of them.
Huge now.
And all the universities and the teachers.
And even high schools.
And high schools.
And we've got the Samizdat. Fox News and, New York Post, maybe, a couple other little things, Washington Times. Can you imagine how shocked they were to lose with those odds?
They weren't supposed to.
Yeah.
They weren't supposed to. It was her turn.
Yeah, right.
So if you guys are just tuning in, I'm sitting here with Jack Cashill. He just wrote, and it's releasing this next week. It's his new book, Unmasking Obama. Now I want to ask you a question because you go into this and you clearly, and in fact,
because he thinks Obama betrayed the left. I don't think so. I think Obama, if he had a success from a progressive point of view, was shepherding all the fractious elements of his coalition, who have zero in common in some cases. What do, for instance, some part of the coalition wants to celebrate gays. Another part of the coalition wants to throw them off the roofs of buildings.
I can't believe
How do you find the compromise?
I don't know.
Solomon couldn't find the compromise,
I know.
And there's other ones, and we'll see these splits all along. And but Obama did a pretty good job of holding them all together. If you're a leftist, that's I think his accomplishment.
Yeah.
But the hard left was disappointed. I mean, the never closes Guantanamo, never after promising right away, never pulls out of Afghanistan or Iraq. So, but from the perspective of someone like just a liberal, true believer, I don't know. I haven't found that person.
You haven't really found that?
No, not really.
Okay.
Certainly not a movement,
Right.
Yeah.
No, and that's kind of what I feel also. It's because you said it. He didn't end the wars. He expanded them. He didn't take on the banks. He bailed them out. And instead of just bailing them out, he kicked people out of their homes, a lot of working class people. He accelerated more sending jobs over to China and overseas out of the country. And then he told you, get used to it. This is the new normal. Those jobs aren't coming back.
Right.
And so many other things. So, I was curious. I guess at worst, you could at least know the facts of him.
Yes. And what I have seen, though, is that in 2016, I was just back in New Jersey visiting relatives where everyone had COVID, and they all recovered, and now they go on about life as usual.
Yeah.
But I've talked to half a dozen people who did not vote for Trump in 2016,
Okay.
who will vote for him in 2020. So I would caution your viewers, listeners, to ignore the polls for a large part.
Absolutely.
Now tell me about your race.
Yeah, this race is actually, it's actually funny you mentioned that. When you and I did one of these a few months ago.
Yeah.
It was happening then, and it has not stopped. I still get people almost averages out to almost every week.
Yeah.
Whether it's a text or an email or a Facebook message of somebody who says, I did not vote for Trump. I've been a lifelong Democrat.
Yeah.
I'm going to vote for you.
Yeah.
And I completely agree. The polls are not there. This is my samizdat right
Right,
here,
right, exactly,
right here.
yeah.
These people, we've got 21 people watching. Kathy's watching. Kathy says love Jack Cashill. Cheryl's watching. Tina's watching. Beth is watching. Chris is watching. I want you guys to know, like Jack and I were talking, if we're going to get the word out, it's going to be you sharing it, because
Right.
Fox 4 is not going to cover me.
No.
No, KNBC and 9 News isn't going to cover.
Yeah.
So all things considered, the campaign's actually going really well. I don't want to give all the inside baseball away,
Yeah,
because who
yeah.
knows who's watching.
Right.
But the data
Yeah.
is actually pretty darn strong right now. We've got a few different things that we're doing between now and the next 84 days that are going to be unlike any politician's ever done.
Yeah.
And I think it's because I don't want to be a politician. I genuinely want to just make this place better, save this country. So I think that when you are someone like Cleaver or one of these career politicians, you
Right.
put yourself into a box of
Yeah.
what you're supposed to do.
Right.
But because that's not the case, we can kind of flip the script. So yeah, the next 84 days is going to have a lot of Saul Alinsky tactics.
Yes.
You know,
Oh, I
the
know
small
him.
guy
I know
without
Saul
the
well. Right.
Yeah, right.
Pick a target, polarize it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're trying we've got some ideas. So
Right. Or force them to live up to their principles. That is the one thing that is perhaps the most effective of the Alinsky tactics.
Mhm.
And I've worked with James O'Keefe on a lot of projects, and he's a real Alinskyite when it comes to tactically. you know.
Okay.
And forcing them to live up to their principles is a good one.
Absolutely.
And that's where they're vulnerable, because their principles they change from week to week, and they forget what they were even a month ago.
Yeah, and I think, Jack, you may have a slight grin here in about 3 weeks on a thing we're going to do, and I'll just leave it at that. But it's going to be a big Alinsky style project,
Right.
with a hold them to their own principle message to it. So, but aside from that, the campaign is actually going really well. We won the primary. Considering it was 6 people, all essentially unheard of, we won
Right.
35% of the vote. And then only 3 days later, we put together a rally that garnered just under 200 people.
Oh, that's great.
That came out.
And where was the rally?
It was downtown Independence on the square.
Good place for it.
Yeah, so we're trying to go for that old kind of
Yeah,
Americana, right?
right,
Save
right.
America.
I did a shock endorsement of you at that one rally.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, the well, you know what? The primary was weird. I'll tell you, the primary was weird, but politics is weird. But overall, it's going well. I warned everyone at that rally. I said, you guys get ready. This is going to be weird.
Yeah.
They're going to come after me, but what they're really doing is they're coming after my supporters.
Well, they'll ignore you as long as they can.
Yes.
When they start coming after you, it's a sign they're taking you seriously.
Yes.
That's actually a good sign.
Yes.
Now,
Right.
if you get doxxed or something, and mobs of protesters show up in front of your house, it might not seem so good.
I know. Yeah, I know.
They won't do that though, because they don't want to acknowledge that you exist.
Right.
The Democrats and the media will, as far as they can and as long as they can, they will simply ignore you.
Yeah.
And that's I as an author, I face that all the time.
Mhm.
They won't, and people say, because I've written some controversial books, and like on TWA Flight at 100, for instance.
Yes.
Where you're messing with the deep state and whatnot.
Yeah.
And people say, aren't you worried about people coming after you? I said, no, because they can ignore me. As long as they can ignore me, they don't have to come after me.
Yeah.
It's when you become too big to ignore
Mm-hmm.
that you become a danger to them, and you are at risk.
Yep, and you know what? That's what the whole campaign team, that's what all of our supporters, all of our donors, that's what I tell everybody.
Yeah.
Is you guys just wait until they start hitting us, because when they hit us, they're going to try to say some nasty things to turn you off, but just know they're finally paying attention,
Right.
and we've got some ground on them. So yeah, we've got some contacts, we've got some methods, we've got some strategies. Again, like I said, a lot of this is going to be that Saul Alinsky strategy.
Right. Well, give me something to put on Facebook on a regular basis, and we'll.
Yeah.
You know, I have pretty good Facebook local following. You know, Facebook is good for local.
Yes.
I mean, Twitter is better for national, but that's not relevant to this race, really. Twitter.
Yeah, you're right. You are right. Yeah, and in fact, Facebook's where everybody is for me right now.
Right.
And so that platform's killer. But I'll keep sending stuff to you.
Yeah.
Let's see if anybody has any comments in here. Stuart says, "My wife, 63 years old, first time, voted for you." All right.
All right.
Bonnie, thanks for the compliments. Kathy says 84 days. Tommy says, "Isn't Jack from Ingram's magazine? Are you still writing with Ingram's?"
I do. I write a monthly column for Ingram's. Been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's actually how I found out. So,
Yeah.
Tommy, yes, he's still writing with Ingram's. I think that's how I first found out and made the connection that Jack lives in Kansas City.
Yeah. Right. Oh,
Because
I see. Right.
I'd followed your stuff from
Yeah.
Andrew Breitbart.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I was reading Ingram's and I saw Jack Cashill and said,
Yeah.
"Oh, cool, he's here also." And then I
Yeah.
thought, wait. And then I typed in and said, "Oh my God, Jack, he's in Kansas City." Okay, very
What's
cool.
he doing here?
Yeah, why are you here? Okay, so anyway, but yeah, you guys, I think that's it right now.
Hey, just show my neighborhood, by the way. Give it a quick turnaround.
Okay, we're gonna show you the neighborhood before they paint political messages out here for you.
That's.
Are they gonna put one here?
I'm putting one in Brookside, apparently.
Yeah, it's just a beautiful night here in Kansas City. So,
Brookside.
yep. So,
And you know, I have because part of the story I tell in my new book, Unmasking Obama, is the story of and the major media. It is appalling. The fraud that started was the Trayvon Martin trial.
yeah,
There was two great Samizdat warriors who made this story come to life. One is Sundance at the Conservative Treehouse.
mm-hmm.
He and his fellow troopers deconstructed the whole thing. The defense team was following them every day.
That, I gotta hand it to you. You're the one that opened my eyes to that because I really just kind of, like most people, just thought, oh, all right, that guy did what he did and moved on.
Right.
But then I kind of followed your work on the Trayvon Martin, and yeah, the event happened, but everything that came after that
Right.
was as dirty politics as it could possibly be.
And then the second part of that story, though, and I also talk about, is another real Samizdat warrior. Joel Gilbert is an LA filmmaker.
Oh yeah, Joel Gilbert. Yeah.
He goes to in fact, I introduced him to George Zimmerman. I've gotten to know George over the years. And he goes to Florida and does some digging. And what he finds out is that, and anyone who followed the trial, this shouldn't be shocking.
Mm-hmm.
But he found out that when the real phone witness, it was a girl, his girlfriend was on the phone with Trayvon up to the moment he died, got cold feet and she wouldn't repeat the false narrative they wanted her to say. She refused to talk to the state prosecutors. They put a substitute in.
Yeah, and like how much more immoral, unethical legal process could that be?
I mean, it's in my lifetime. It's the most outrageous judicial fraud I've ever heard.
But like Rush Limbaugh calls it, it's the drive-by media.
Yeah.
They drove by, they assassinated the story,
Right.
and they drove off, and that was it. Nobody was going to cover
Right,
it.
and there's no way to go back. So Joel Gilbert, in September 2019, I was there for it because I helped him with that project.
Mm-hmm.
And his book is called The Trayvon Hoax.
Okay.
It's a book and a documentary, The Trayvon Hoax. It's available on YouTube. It's worth watching.
Okay.
He rents a big room at the National Press Club. You think you were disappointed?
Yeah.
No one shows up, right?
Eesh.
So I said to him, tell you what, I don't have a financial interest in your success. So I said, let me make some phone calls. I called the New York Times. I called the Miami Herald. I called the Orlando Sentinel. I called the Tampa Bay Tribune. It's a local Florida story. It's shocking, the response
And no
I
one
got.
wanted to talk about it.
I said, we have an imposter in the most racially charged trial since OJ, and you don't want to know about it? They didn't want to know about it.
That's
Oh, that George Zimmerman, he deserved whatever happened. Stop this.
Well, and that, it kind of comes full circle because that was during Obama years.
Yeah. So I told those planes not to fly over.
We wanted 15 minutes of no airspace.
Right.
It looks like
That's Emmanuel Cleaver is in that plane up there. That helicopter.
He would. But it comes full circle because Trayvon was during Obama.
Right.
Obama had this media complex industry that did whatever he needed.
Right.
And it's the exact opposite now.
Oh, exactly.
And again, Black Lives Matter, the organization now, I don't know, Jack, how Susan Rosenberg can be a part of Black Lives Matter Incorporated and nobody cares at all. That a convicted domestic terrorist, a woman that was arrested with 750 pounds of explosives.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, right? It's a free country, right? We got Bill of Rights and all this. Freedom, it's her expression. How nobody even is curious enough just to ask, hey, do you think that's a bad image for us?
Yeah, no, right.
You
They
know,
don't
like-
care because they have it's totally intimidated Democratic Party.
Right.
They're running the Democratic Party now.
Right.
They
You're
picked
right.
Kamala Harris. Benjamin Crump, the fellow at the center of the Trayvon hoax,
Mm-hmm.
the lawyer of the Martin family lawyer and the George Floyd family lawyer, came out. He gets his lead editorial on CNN demanding that Kamala as in communist, Harris, be the VP last week. And sure enough, there she
And
is.
here we go.
Yeah,
You guys, I want you to show this one last time. This comes out next week, right?
yeah, 18th. August
18th. So is
yeah.
it on Amazon?
Yeah, it's the best place now to get that.
Okay, so cool. Get it on Amazon. If you want to follow Jack, he writes on Ingram's. A lot of the stuff I follow that I like that Jack also contributes to is American Thinker. That's AmericanThinker.com. 500 to 1,000 words. Usually a lot of good stuff on there.
You can friend me on Facebook.
Yeah, you can find him on Facebook. Are
Yeah.
you still active on Twitter?
Yeah.
Okay, Twitter as well. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys right now. So, Jack, thanks a bunch.
Hey, Ryan, thanks for coming by and
Yeah.
it's introducing me to 21st century
We're
technology.
going to keep working this. We're going to keep getting him up to the speed and get your face out there. Like you said, this is the 21st century Samizad right here. Is my Facebook. I'm live. And, you know, imagine this. And this is how I kind of tell people, like, who don't fully understand the grasp is, imagine if Fox News came to you and said, hey, Jack, we're going to give you 5 nights a week for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Are you down?
Yeah.
And you say, yeah, absolutely. Look, we're live right now.
Right.
All you have to do is build the audience.
Yeah. Right. So does Fox get about 4 million per audience?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not at 4 million